Well, this video is either going to go really well or really poorly. I guess it kind of just depends on how you feel about Super 7. Here on Sunday Shockwave, I'm redoing a review on yet another Shockwave, that being the ReAction Shockwave as put out by Super 7. ReAction, their whole point is that they're supposed to be in the style of the Kenner Star Wars figures. 5 points of articulation, not a lot of accessories, pretty simple sculpting. What was cool about Transformers is that they were using the line art from the Sunbow cartoon, meaning that for the first time ever, we were going to get 100% on point, on model cartoon figures. Even if they couldn't pose all that well, it was cool just to see these guys come out. And I'll be honest, I bought almost all of them up until some of the recent waves. I like them. It doesn't necessarily mean that I think they're good. Let's talk the good first. The sculpting is incredible. It looks just like the cartoon. The paint is also incredibly solid. You have a good bit of contrast to Decepticon logos on the arms. I even love that they remembered Shockwave's gun tube. And be careful, you can use it to articulate, though that is rubberized plastic, meaning that it will collapse one day, and in fact it already is. You can see that there's a small tear there in the backpack for me. My oh my. Unfortunately, that's just the reality of having tubes on Shockwaves. I wish that it was removable. It is not. And that's just one of many issues. You see the eye there, how there's a little bit of yellow paint missing near the ridge? That was a common issue. Many people had that with their Shockwave. Some had it worse than this. Despite all the paint across all the figures being solid, for some reason the yellow eye proved to be the undoing. Past that, the figure's 5 points of articulation. I mean, you can get him into a handful of good poses, but that's it. A handful. At least he looks good, right? He stands there, he looks solid. Now, how much were they asking for this Shockwave? $18. Allow me to more fully paint the picture here. Super 7 started sending out ReAction figures around the time that Power of the Primes was turning into Siege, and Transformers Red was just around the corner. Power of the Primes Deluxes went for around $18, same price as Shockwave. Siege Deluxes went for about $20, $2 more than Shockwave, and Red would have also gone for $2 more at $20. Now granted, Red Shockwave came out years later, but the point is still being made here. You could get either larger non-transforming figures with more articulation or standard deluxes for about the same price as this. And again, I'm not trying to bring up bad feelings with Super 7 at all. I think that they are a fine group of people, I'm sure they are. But I do want to point this out. I feel like every time people try to criticize Super 7, even constructively criticize them, it's always met with people saying, well, they're a small company. And I hate to tell you guys, no, they're not. They were a small company 20 years ago. They were a small company 10 years ago. But currently, they were the main license holder of He-Man for a number of years. They currently do a lot of work with Power Rangers, Ninja Turtles, Simpsons. They had a lot of license deals. And sure, licenses cost money. And I know that's what a lot of people said is, well, these figures would be better if the license deal didn't eat into their profits so much. I mean, could you really do a better Transformer figure licensed for cheaper? Yeah, you can. I want to make this point again. I really like the Super 7 ReAction figures. I think Shockwave's a good toy. But I don't think that it's healthy to make Super 7 immune to criticism. Especially now that they're not the only game in town for licensed Transformers. I mean, you have 3-0, you have Yellow Park, you have Blockies, of course, you have that company Aldi entering the mix. You have so many companies that are all doing amazing figures, and even though 3-0 is on the expensive end, Super 7 used to occupy the retail level prices, $20, $50 for their Ultimates figures. But the Ultimates don't stack up to the $30 Yellow Park model kits, and their ReAction figures don't stack up to the $8 Blockies model kits. I am not here trying to completely tear apart the idea of Super 7. They made good figures, and I like the figures. But the prices were exuberant. I think that's a big reason as to why the line had to slow down so much, is you're not getting a lot, but you're having to spend a good chunk of cash. Cash that could be going to other things, not just other Transformers, but food, gas, clothing, rent. As time goes on, you have to be a lot more conscientious with how you're spending money. And let's just say that there's a reason why I'm still willing to buy Blockies and not them. I'm getting more for a smaller price point. Of course, he still has a home within the Parliament of Shockwave, and that can never be taken away from him. But he's not joining the Council of Shocks. He's not one of the top tiers. He's going to be hanging out down here with Shock Blart for a little bit. In fact, Shock Blart, you know what? People complain about you getting abused all the time. Now it's your turn, bud. You put the boots to him. Put the boots to him! There we go. Oh, no. Well, you messed it up, Shock Blart. Just like everything, you messed it up. Bad. Bad Shock Blart. He's a good Shockwave, not a great one. He's a good toy, not a great one. However, he was never a good value. If this was an $8 toy or even a $10 toy, magnificent. For $20, maybe wait till he goes on sale.